Coming up next on MCN, the McAllen Cable Network, the Development Corporation of McAllen from McAllen City Hall. The Development Corporation appointed by the City Commission is charged with making recommendations on how to use money that's been raised from the half-cent sales tax that was approved by McAllen voters on May the 3rd, 1997. The recommendation is made to the City Commission. They make the final decision. And now, the Development Corporation of McAllen.
Committee meeting for May 6, 2021. First item is approval of minutes for March 1st, 2021. We had a correction here that was made. And any other corrections or deletions? You know, the only thing I had on executive session, and I don't know if it's sometimes we don't say it, but we did a budget amendment, $29,000 to support matters in executive session. Is that because instead of reciting what they were? The only thing is, it's okay, but in future year or next year, you wouldn't know what the heck that was for or anything. But
that's true. But for the fact that we have the information that was similarly shared with the City Commission, and I have certified agenda notes.
Okay.
With respect
so we'd be able to trace.
So I will be able to trace that.
Okay. I know sometimes you don't do it because you haven't told the people yet or whatever it is.
But this particular report in this case was information that was shared in both meetings. So
okay.
I do have a record of that.
Okay. Entertained motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Nonprofit outside agency applications. Oh, here comes Elvin. Speaking of nonprofit applications, Elvin.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the Community Development Committee has been tasked with assisting in the review of the outside nonprofit applications over the last few years. So they are looking for some guidance as far as this year and what we would like to see. One, whether the overall budget will be reduced or not, and if so, if we have a figure in mind, whether any new applicants will be accepted. Last year we did allow new applicants, however there were none that applied. And also there was some discussion last year about the 25% administrative cap being reviewed on a case-by-case basis, so we would like some direction on that. There was $2.5 million in funding awarded last year, which was a decrease from the year prior to that, which was 2.8. And so we do have individual numbers for these if you have any questions.
Yeah. I had one question. We're up like 1.2 million over budget for the year on revenue. Is that seasonal or is that, do you think that's real?
The 1.2, it's 1. At March it's 1.5.
Yeah, okay.
1.5. That's actual, but it's based on the budget that's there. Seasonal, so you're over 20% on a flat line, but on seasonal you're over 16%.
So you are over on a seasonal basis?
Yeah, seasonal you're over 16%. So the budget there at 7.7, seasonally adjusted 7.2. So you're up 16%.
Okay. So and that's a question of whether we're going to reduce it or keep it the same. A lot of people are coming off of COVID, and some of their operations now will be going back to the original number as opposed to I know some haven't spent all their budget. I have to presume this year they probably might. Right. What do you
Start
guys
moving.
think?
I wouldn't cut it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think there's a need to cut.
We haven't seen anything yet, too. So.
No.
You know,
Okay.
our revenues are higher. Our liquidity is up really strong because we didn't spend all the money from last year's grants, and then we're gonna get some more money this year. So I mean, we can keep it the same. It's a 2.5, right, number.
Right. Yeah,
That's fine with me.
Yeah,
And are we accepting new applications as well?
Well, that's
Or
what
new
I say.
applicants?
Let's get that let's give it 2.5. And anybody's going to be deleted or added? So I don't see any.
And we don't know for sure yet who is going to apply. The applications will go out next month. But this is just the baseline. And these are the typical ones that we see. Last year, Easter Seals was in the mix. The year before that, it was the same agencies minus Easter Seals.
And kind of related, when El Milagro Clinic's on there, I think their lease is up this year. You know, that the city and the county built the building, and if I'm not mistaken, the city might own the land, and the county and the city built the building, and they had a 25-year lease, I think.
For who?
El Milagro Clinic.
Oh, okay.
And it's up, and I know STC is interested in maybe operating there, not necessarily getting rid of El Milagro Clinic, but taking over the building and all that and using it as a training center and then have El Milagro in there to do that. You know, a couple years ago.
When we did the last visit, there was a lot of vacant space, as you recall.
Well, they had the doctor's office in there, which they weren't supposed to. They were getting rent for the doctor's office, subsidizing it. So that cost some of that. So I would like to see us, not even them, have you guys look at whether or not that lease is coming up and then talking to the county. And then if they agree, maybe talking to STC and El Milagro, see how they think that's going to work, if it's going to work. Yeah, because I don't think that's way underused for the need out there. And if STC does it, I think they would see more patients, et cetera, they nurse, as part of their nursing school. Plus they could use the parking lot. Okay, could you do that?
Yes, sir.
So we'll leave it on there, but have an asterisk at that maybe, and that's one we really need to look at closely.
New applicants?
Any new applicants? Have we any?
Is there a deadline?
Yvette?
We're planning to roll out the application May 10th. We are asking for the applications to be due May 28th, whether they be submitted electronically or in person. And our tentative schedule is the presentation will be June 10th or 17th. The applications will be presented to you either June 10th or 17th, whichever date is available. We will have our CD recommendation by June 24th, and we will have the results available by your next meeting, either July or August.
You know, sometimes don't we determine people, because CBDG budget, is it going to be the same or no cut? Is it going to get more money
I
with,
think we're getting more.
you're going to get more money? But we never meet all the demand anyway, so, but it will be more money.
And
So
they're
I think we have more money, then we maybe keep this the same, and,
We already have applications for CDBG, and they're going through that
yeah,
process.
why don't we wait, because you ought to be able to maybe pick up a couple more that you hadn't funded with more money, right? You want to do that?
So
We'll
that
keep
would
this
mean
list.
allowing new applications, is that what you mean?
Kind of pending to see what happens with CBDG. Yeah,
That one's on the other way, yes.
Huh?
We've already presented the applications for CDBG, I believe, last committee meeting, last city commission meeting.
the city commission? Yeah, was there new or both? Yeah. But no decision's been made on that funding anyways.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily restrict new applications. I mean, if there's a new applicant, I think we ought to, or they ought to first give it some consideration, and then if they feel that that application it needs to be funded, then I think it should come to the city commission.
Yeah, why don't they do
I
that?
agree.
I mean, the CBDG people always look at ours anyways. Why don't, if they think there's one that's worthwhile, that's a new one, and it's not gonna look like it's gonna get funded under CBDG, then let it refer it to us, okay? That's a good idea?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Is that okay, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then the last question is the administrative cap, 25%.
What I
So-
was asking on that, Mayor, is I was asking, where do we determine that number? I understand what we'd be, we wanting to set a cap. What is the normal you look at, 35%? What is the number? Because I think if we look at it on a case-by-case basis, wanting to put more of our money into programs makes sense, right?
Yeah,
But I think if we could look at them on a case-by-case basis, that would probably, keeping them around that level, without causing any kind of,
I think Vita kind of caused that. If I
I
remember mistaken, Vita
recall.
had the real high one and kind of.
very high.
They made us lower the bar.
Well,
So
what ends up happening,
we could kind of set like a parameter, I think, maybe, and look at it on a I think that would be fair.
but would you
Yeah.
think that even on a case-by-case basis, if we make not an exception, but we do a case-by-case basis, little over time, they become pretty reliant on us covering more and more of their administrative costs. So if you ever strip it, I think it strains them more. You're not stripping the program, you're stripping their operations.
Yeah, and that's not unusual. The workforce development people have, over the year, it was 30-40%, and they're capped now. I mean, not capped out, but there's pretty standards before the state looks at them as like 10%. And So, theirs is a little easier because their programs are all established.
I wouldn't say that we would just leave it wide open. I think we should set a parameter and then look at it closely.
Well, I think we ought to
Make
say if
sure-
it's more than 25%, you're gonna have to justify it specifically.
Yeah, it would be like a variance.
There's no, okay?
Well, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying that
It
the
doesn't, it's
admin
not
is.
I don't think we should be a fail-safe, you're over, you're not gonna qualify,
Yeah.
but.
I think they could apply for it and ask for that consideration,
have
and
to
then
justify
again,
anything
kind of
over
comes.
25%.
So really, we're gonna kind of leave it the same,
Yeah.
and just kind of watch for that.
Right.
That's fair.
It's okay with everybody? Do we have to make that a motion, or that's just okay with direction?
I don't know, if- action item.
I don't think it's an action, it's just consideration, and, well,
Okay, we'll make
It
a
does say
motion that
approval.
25 is the target, and anything over 25 has to be
We just have to justify it.
reviewed,
Yeah, subject to review.
subject to review, okay?
Or secondary.
Yeah, motion.
That's a motion.
Second?
Second.
What?
I can't say, I was just gonna say, I think what staff was looking for here was some guidance. So, that you're making a motion subject to it coming back, I think is within, the scope of what they're looking for.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
no
So it's in the
motion.
record, otherwise it's just a discussion.
Exactly.
So we have a second,
Second.
subject to city attorney's explanation, he can write the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, that's good. Financial statements.
All that cash, Omar. Remember when you were worried about the balance? You got a lot of money now.
Good afternoon, everybody. The financial statements for you are as of March 31st, 2021. The first page is your balance sheet for the Development Corporation. The figures are unaudited. Their total assets amount to $14.9 million, with total liabilities of $301,000, leaving a fund balance of $14.6 million. The next 5 pages are detail of the revenues and expenses compared to budget. But if you turn to the last page, is your statement of revenues and expenses. So summarize all those details and rolls them up into their major categories. And so your top line are your revenues. And if you look to the year-to-date actuals column, you'll see that total revenues for the year as of March 31st are $9.3 million. You have year-to-date actual expenditures of $5.4 million, and other financing sources uses of $4.1 million, resulting in revenues over expenses of $7.9. We add that $7.9 to your beginning fund balance of $6.7, gets you back to your fund balance on your balance sheet of $14.6. I do want to point out that as of March, sales tax in general were up 4.19% for the year. Which means the Development Corp was also up. And on a budget basis, adjusting for seasonal for Christmas, you would be 16% ahead of budget.
And that's with the travel ban still in place.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna go up much more
Yeah.
at some point.
That's pretty
So-
good.
Sales tax was up how much?
For the year, as of March, was 4.19%, actual over actuals.
Can I ask you a question? It's on sales tax just generally. I know the legislature has some proposals, several proposals on internet sales. And, when they passed the lawsuit, they said it was going to be point of delivery with the exception of existing contracts. And of course, Amazon had that huge Rockport or Roundport, or whatever the hell it is, north of Dawson, had a big Amazon facility. Now they're building 2 or 3 around the state. But I think the state legislature is that it's a point of delivery, and maybe just are going to grandfather the ones when the federal lawsuit was changed about 3 years ago. There's a federal suit that said you now could collect interstate commerce. So can you give us a report next meeting on that, Mike? And then, do we have any way of knowing how much comes through internet sales versus non-internet sales, or no?
We have some information on internet sales based on the taxpayer description. And there's some what's called the single source or single rate taxpayer, which are out-of-state tax sales that are coming in, and they opt in, either they pay actual taxes or they can qualify for a single rate. If I can add to what some of the information you're providing, there is something out there that's going to change point of delivery for anything purchased, whether I buy it via phone or I call, order it online. And so they're looking at changing some of the language in the actual statute that talks about the business having a place of business to delivery. place of delivery.
Yeah, could you give us a report? And then also, an executive session about our existing contract, what effect that has on our contract?
Yes.
Yes, we can do that.
Huh?
We can do that.
'Cause I was trying to read the legislation, and ours is kind of unique, because I couldn't figure out whether, because it's a physical thing, right? Physical delivery, whatever the hell that means. Okay, any other questions on that? So our budget's good. And then on the $1 million to UTRGV, we always make that conditional, we gotta do something in the area for that, and so, I didn't know, at the end of last year, we didn't give them the $1 million because they didn't do anything, and so does that just roll over to next year? But if we were always gonna budget $1 million a year, that should have some positive effect on our budget, because we don't always spend it.
Right, if it's not spent, it rolls into fund balance.
Okay, rolled in fund balance. Probably this year, fingers crossed, we'll get something.
I agreed.
But we
have
didn't do
some-
it last year? We didn't spend the $1 million
No.
last year?
No.
Last fiscal year?
Yeah.
I guess we
Yeah,
didn't.
they didn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
What happened with the press box?
That's still, I think, in
Yeah,
motion.
they're still
That's
working.
pending design or something.
Yeah.
And,
They haven't even gone to bid yet.
I think.
No, they had the design, but they hadn't even, I think they were still working on what I would call the MEPs, the overall
Yeah.
plans.
And
The numbers are
they're
coming
trying to
in
fit
very
me for
high.
the statute outside the stadium, but, you know, it's.
Bronze.
You got measured for it? Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's not expensive, I'm only 5'6", so it wasn't a big deal. Okay, any
We
other
have
questions?
that- We have had that earmarked, so how does that, do we just keep,
We likely carry it over.
Yeah, we have a contract, right? We have an agreement, and at least, I think it's, I don't know if it's probably a contract. And
It's
so
an
it
interlocal.
didn't have a,
Yeah.
doesn't have a termination date on it, so we have to give them notice, but they still
Yeah,
have
I
it in
think
their
just
budget.
Rolls over, rolls
And the
over.
way we handle that in our budget is we'll do the rollovers in the fiscal year if we
Yeah.
haven't spent it and we still agree. So that's
Our fund
the
balance
opportunity
is
to
so
look
high,
at
we
it
didn't do
again.
a lot.
A lot of them.
okay,
Put everything on hold.
Okay,
We
well,
make a
that's
lot of
good
money that
news.
way.
Hi, Tanya, do you have any questions?
Hi, Mayor. Sorry, I just got done with a client meeting. No, I'm okay for now. I think I heard everybody else's questions. We're good.
Most everything we did is gonna ask for a report next meeting, so we'll get that done.
Okay.
Just refresh my memory, Insight Direct, what is that?
Yeah.
Inside Direct?
That's what I think he wants to report on in the executive session.
Oh, the internet.
Oh,
itself.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we'll get that put together.
Okay, any other questions? Is that it for the agenda?
That's it.
Questions, comments, anything? 4 minutes and 17 seconds.
Look at that.
17
And,
minutes.
and let it be noted that your financials are much more up to date this time. so-
Yes,
What do
I
you
like,
think?
I like the, and I like the summary. You know, it's good to have the stuff in front, but the summary helps a lot.
It helps.
Okay, any questions, anything
is
else?
this your last meeting?
I'll be here till June 14th.
It likely is your last meeting.
Huh? It's like my last meeting as a fearless leader. So, but they had everything last night, so
We can roast him some more if
I'll
anybody
get a
has
tea
some
or
leftover
something.
roast.
But it's been fun, and I
It
enjoyed
has
it.
been.
You know, I like the composition of the board. I think with the city commission and outside people, it's a great combination. Hopefully it'll continue that way, and so we get the input and all that, and so it's been fun.
Thank you,
This
Mayor.
has. Thank you, Mayor.
I'll be on MEDC's executive committee, so I'll be back begging, in a begging posture. So
Oh.
please be kind to me. So, okay, we stand adjourned. Thanks.